an in-depth conversation in a classroom format compared to what we see often today in politics, in today's headlines. We're speaking with Len Tabs. He's the instructor for OLLI's Today's Headlines course. So, Len, that's not something you always see, especially with this new 24-hour news cycle we have.
The members of OLLI who come are generally older, obviously, and they do read a newspaper more than the younger people do. And while you can get your news from the cables and get your news from the internet, I believe they're still newspaper readers, even though they may be reading it online rather than physically holding a newspaper. However, they have experience, and we have history to fall back on. And so today's events can always relate to something that happened in the past, and you get a clearer understanding when you come to class and talk to people, and for people to relay their experiences along with what's happening now. So news is more, and headlines is just more than just a headline. There's always a relatable story that goes with it, which I find very interesting, and everyone in the class does. And I think that's important. I
think that's interesting as well, because everyone over 50 is what OLLI is, over 50. Yeah. And that is interesting because, again, that deeper perspective often, and actually you taught a course, the first time you taught this course, I think it was in 2008, when it seemed like it was unprecedented, but in reality, perhaps there are some students in your course who realize, well, no, it's not exactly unprecedented. We've been through these types of things before.
And that's where the role of the historical perspective comes in. While people maybe were too young to understand or to live through the Depression, although some did, who were OLLI members, you'll find that they studied it, and they recognized and realized the results of how our government attacked the deep depression of the 30s. And if in 2008 you felt the same thing was happening, you had a relatable experience and knowledge base to understand what should be done to remedy that terrible situation. And there you have lively discussion again. Some people on one political sphere say, here's a set of options and tactics to go by, and then you had another political persuasion that said, well, look at what the government did in the 30s and the 40s to remedy the terrible times. And it's just very interesting, and that historical perspective is very important when people come to a present-day OLLI Headlines class.
And how much is it lecture, and how much is it conversation? How do you split a normal class up?
My style is not to lecture. My style is to develop the topics we're going to talk about and try to, again, be the provocateur. I'm trying to get as much cross-conversation back and forth from either side or many sides of the aisle, and try to get as many people to participate. The one thing that I find is nobody's shy. If they have something to say, they're going to say it. And the only teaching rule I have is raise your hand to be recognized, and please don't cross-talk. And please stay in your seat. If it gets too overheated, please don't punch out your neighbor. And that's the only rule that I go by.
Some of the basics, basics. So speaking with Len Tabs, Today's Headlines is the course this upcoming semester for the OLLI program. We'll continue the conversation after this.